Welcome to Upper Elementary Simplified, the podcast where busy and overwhelmed teachers find thoughtful ideas to get students engaged in meaningful learning experiences. Hi, I'm Danna Rodebush, former fifth grade classroom teacher and founder of Teacher Tech Studio. I'm here to share practical tips and strategies that will help you grow as an educator. If you are a tired upper elementary teacher searching for ways to cut down your planning time while boosting student engagement, you are in the right spot. Are you ready? Let's simplify. Hey, teachers, thank you so much for joining me for today's episode 26 of the Upper Elementary Simplified podcast. Today, we are wrapping up our three-part series about how to make math meaningful and engaging for upper elementary students. If you haven't listened to episodes 24 and 25, I encourage you to go back and listen to those as well. So let's go ahead and get started. This episode of Upper Elementary Simplified is sponsored by my free guide called 11 Ways to Make Math Meaningful and Engaging, plus Save Time in the Process. Yes, that is a wordy title, but there is a lot in this guide. In fact, the guide is 26 pages long and includes time saving and engaging ideas for upper elementary math teachers because you don't just want them to learn math, you want them to enjoy learning math. Download your copy of this free resource by heading to teachertechstudio.com/math guide. That link will be in the show notes. The guided math classroom is built around the opportunities for students to develop independence in their learning. That's why the number 9 way to make math meaningful is to build independence. When students are given choice or provided multiple types of activities, and the ability to nurture their own learning, the natural tendency of building independence will typically shine through. One way to encourage this independence is to allow students choices during small group and math centers. You could do this by using a must do, may do type menu where you set up a routine that establishes certain required activities, but then gives students options for other activities they can choose from after their required activities are completed. Number 10 is to provide engaging challenges in your math classroom. I love a good challenge or puzzle to be able to break out some problem solving skills, and most students do as well. In my math curriculum, I have built in weekly performance task challenges that offer a real world problem solving task because it can't all just be about solving the problem on the paper. Students need to be challenged in different ways to build those problem solving skills that so many of them are lacking. I know when I was in the classroom, I had a lot of students who seemed to want me to think for them. And as teachers, we need to be encouraging them to be able to problem solve on their own or in a group of their peers. The very last tip from my guide, 11 Ways to Make Math Meaningful and Engaging, at number 11 is to focus on the why. I am so passionate about this topic that I actually did an entire episode about it several weeks ago. If you are interested in that, you can go check out episode 2. In my opinion, math instruction is nothing without a focus on the why. This focus includes developing in your students the characteristic of always asking themselves or you and determining the why of math concepts. This is an aspect of my teaching that I am very confident in. I like to find meaning in why something is the way it is, and I want to encourage students to do the same. Sometimes when we learn a fact or we read an explanation and we don't think any further about it. It just is that way. But if you are curious about why something happens or why the math works out the way it does, it really does give more meaning to the concept. Why does the value of the digit change when the decimal point shifts to the right? Because when this happens, the digit is actually moving from one place value to the next. And when the value shifts to the left, that means the value is increasing or getting bigger. Why do we need to line up the decimal points when we add and subtract? But it doesn't matter if they are lined up when we multiply. Because when we add and subtract, we are actually adding or subtracting hundredths with hundredths, tenths with tenths, and ones with ones. But when we multiply, we are multiplying the hundredth in the bottom factor by the hundredth in the top factor, the tenth in the top factor, and the one in the top factor. And then we are doing the same with the tenth in the bottom factor, which means we also need a placeholder 0 in the second partial product, because when we move to the second digit in the bottom factor, the value increases by 10. Do you see what I mean? Now, obviously, when we are explaining these types of things to students, we would need to slow down and demonstrate the reasoning for the why of the concept. But prompting students to begin seeking out the answers to these types of questions about how math works or what is actually happening mathematically will help them find a deeper understanding in the reason for their solutions, which helps to create more meaningful learning. And isn't that what it's all about? I really hope you have enjoyed this series based on my math guide and that it has given you some fresh ideas and perspectives that you can use to plan instruction for your own classroom. Remember to download your copy of the free math guide by heading to teachertechstudio.com/math guide. And I will see you next week. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Upper Elementary Simplified. I hope you are able to take away something useful that will help you grow as a teacher. I do have a quick favor to ask before you go. If you are enjoying the podcast, please let me know by leaving me a review. It really does make a difference because reviews impact search results, which helps me to expand my reach to other educators. Plus, I love to read my listeners' comments. Until next time, keep life simple.